Christina María Aguilera is an American singer, songwriter, and television personality. Her accolades include 5 Grammy Awards, 1 Latin Grammy Award, and a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, while she was also named the Voice of a Generation and honored as a Disney legend in 2012 and 2019 respectively. Aguilera is one of the most influential and best-selling music artists of all time, selling over 75 million albums and singles worldwide. In 2008, Aguilera ranked at number 58 on Rolling Stone's list of 100 greatest singers of all time and has been noted for inspiring young artists. Before rising to fame, Aguilera appeared on Disney's The Mickey Mouse Club and signed a recording contract with RCA Records in 1998. She achieved worldwide success with her self-titled debut album, released in 1999, which debuted at number 1 in the US and spawned 3 US number 1 singles, Genie in a Bottle, What a Girl Wants, and Come On Over Baby. Aguilera followed her debut album up with Mi Reflejo and My Kind of Christmas, with the former becoming the best-selling Latin pop album of the year. Becoming recognized as a prominent contemporary teen pop figure, Aguilera sought to assume artistic control with her follow-up album, Stripped. Its lead single, Dirrty, showed a drastic change in Aguilera's image as she began to express her sexuality. The second single from the album, Beautiful, received favorable response for its empowering lyrics and became an anthem for the LGBT community, as well as peaking number 2 on Billboard Hot 100. Aguilera reinvented her image once more with her second US number 1 album, Back to Basics, which drew inspiration from early 20th century jazz, soul, and blues, and spawned the top 10 single Ain't No Other Man, Hurt, and Candyman. Following suit, her next 3 albums, Bionic, Lotus, and Liberation, all experimented with various musical styles and reached the top 10 in the US. Outside of solo material, Aguilera has topped the Billboard Hot 100 twice with Lady Marmalade, and is a featured artist on moves like Jagger. With the latter, Aguilera became the 4th female artist in history to top the chart in 3 consecutive decades. She also earned chart-topping entries with other collaborations including Feel This Moment, Say Something, and Nobody Wants to Be Lonely. In addition to her music career, Aguilera also starred in the film Burlesque and contributed to the soundtrack of the same name. Bound to You, which Aguilera co-penned for the soundtrack, was nominated for a Golden Globe Award for Best Original Song. Aguilera also had a voiceover role in the Emoji Movie and a supporting role in Zoe. For 6 seasons from 2011 to 2016, Aguilera was a coach on the singing competition series The Voice, which earned her an Alma Award. The season 10 winner for the show belonged to Aguilera's team. Life and career. 1980 to 1998, early life and career beginnings. Christina María Aguilera was born in Staten Island, New York City on December 18, 1980, the eldest of 2 daughters to musician Shelley Lorraine Kearns and United States Army soldier Fausto Xavier Aguilera. Her father was born in Ecuador, and her mother has German, Irish, Welsh, and Dutch ancestry. Her family moved frequently because of her father's military service, and lived in places including New Jersey, Texas, New York, and Japan. Aguilera stated that her father was physically and emotionally abusive. To cope with her turbulent household, she used music as a form of escape. Following her parents' divorce when she was 6 years old, Aguilera, her younger sister Rachel, and her mother moved into her grandmother's home in Rochester, a suburb in the Pittsburgh area. Her mother later remarried to Jim Kearns and had a son with him named Michael. After years of estrangement, Aguilera expressed interest in reconciling with her father in 2012. As a child, Aguilera was drawn to soul and blues records her grandmother bought and would practice singing, which earned her a reputation as the little girl with a big voice in her neighborhood. She aspired to be a singer, and won her first talent show at age 8 with a rendition of Whitney Houston's I Wanna Dance with Somebody. At age 10, she performed A Sunday Kind of Love on the competition show Star Search, and was eliminated during the semi-final round. She performed the song again on KDKA-TV's Wake Up with Larry Richert. During her youth in the Pittsburgh area, Aguilera sang the U.S. national anthem, The Star-Spangled Banner, before Pittsburgh Penguins hockey, Pittsburgh Steelers football, and Pittsburgh Pirates baseball games, and the 1992 Stanley Cup Finals. She attended Rochester Area School District in Rochester and Marshall Middle School near Wexford, and briefly attended North Allegheny Intermediate High School before being homeschooled to avoid being bullied. In 1991, Aguilera auditioned for a position on the Mickey Mouse Club, although she did not meet its age requirements. She joined the television series 2 years later, where she performed musical numbers and sketch comedy until its cancellation in 1994. Fellow cast members included Ryan Gosling, Kerry Russell, Britney Spears, and Justin Timberlake. After the show ended, Aguilera moved to Japan and recorded her first song, All I Wanna Do, a duet with Japanese singer Keizo Nakanishi. In 1998, Aguilera returned to the U.S. to seek a recording contract. She approached RCA Records, who told her to contact Disney instead because they were having financial difficulties. She sent her cover version of Whitney Houston's Run to You to Disney in hopes of being selected to record the theme song Reflection for their animated film Mulan. Aguilera was ultimately selected to sing Reflection. The song was released in June 1998 and charted on the Billboard Adult Contemporary chart at number 15. 1999 to 2001, Christina Aguilera, Mi Reflejo, and My Kind of Christmas. After Reflection, Aguilera attracted the attention of RCA's A&R Ron Fair and was signed with the label quickly afterwards. RCA was pressured by the contemporary teen pop craze evoked by Aguilera's peer Britney Spears, leading to the label rushing production of the album and aligning Aguilera to be part of the teen pop trend. They released the lead single from the album, Genie in a Bottle, a trendy pop and R&B track, in June 1999. The single rose Aguilera to stardom, peaking atop the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 and charts of 20 other countries. It has sold over 7 million copies as of 2014. Aguilera's eponymous debut album followed in August 1999 and peaked at number 1 on the U.S. Billboard 200. It was certified 8 times platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America, and had moved 17 million copies worldwide by 2010. The album produced 3 other singles, 2 U.S. number 1 singles What a Girl Wants and Come On Over Baby, and 1 U.S. top 5 single I Turn to You, a cover of All for One song. At the 42nd Annual Grammy Awards in February 2000, Aguilera won Best New Artist. Aguilera's 2 following studio albums, Mi Reflejo and My Kind of Christmas, were released in September and October 2000, respectively. The former, a Spanish-language album consisting of re-recorded versions of tracks on Aguilera's debut album and several original songs, topped the Billboard Top Latin Albums for 19 consecutive weeks and was certified 6 times platinum in the Latin field by the RIAA. It won Best Female Pop Vocal Album at the 2nd Annual Latin Grammy Awards in 2001. The latter contains covers of Christmas popular songs and a few original dance pop tunes, and was certified platinum by the RIAA. In support of her albums, Aguilera embarked on her first concert tour, Christina Aguilera in Concert, from mid-2000 to early 2001. The tour visited North America, Europe, South America, and Japan. Billboard in 2000 recognized Aguilera as the top female pop act of the year. Despite the successes, Aguilera was displeased with the music and image her manager Steve Kurtz had aligned her to, feeling unable to control her own image. In October 2000, she filed a breach of fiduciary duty lawsuit against Kurtz for improper, undue and inappropriate influence over her professional activities. After terminating Kurtz's services, RCA hired Irving Azoff as Aguilera's new manager. Aguilera took her first steps in artistic control with a cover of LaBelle's Lady Marmalade with Pink, Maya, and Lil' Kim for the Moulin Rouge soundtrack. RCA executives initially opposed to Aguilera recording Lady Marmalade because it was too urban, but Aguilera ultimately managed to record the song of her own accord. The collaboration topped the Billboard Hot 100 for 5 weeks based on airplay alone, becoming the first airplay-only track in history to remain on the chart's top spot for more than 1 week. It won Best Pop Collaboration with Vocals at the 44th Annual Grammy Awards. In mid-2001, Warlock Records released Just Be Free, a compilation of demo tracks Aguilera recorded in 1994 and 1995, when she was looking forward to an album release after the end of the Mickey Mouse Club. Aguilera filed a suit against Warlock Records and the album's producers to stop the release. The 2 parties came to a confidential settlement to release the album, in which Aguilera lent out her name, likeness, and image for an unspecified amount of damages. 2002 to 2003, Stripped. While working on her fourth studio album, Aguilera leaned toward a new artistic direction that she felt had more musical and lyrical depth. She named the album Stripped and explained that the title represented a new beginning, a reintroduction of as a new artist in a way. Aguilera served as the album's executive producer and co-wrote most of the songs. To present her new persona, Aguilera released Dirrty as the lead single from the album in September 2002. Its accompanying music video generated controversy for depicting overtly sexual fetishes. Aguilera's new image presented in the video was widely criticized by the public that it began to overshadow her music. She defended her new image: "I'm in the power position, in complete command of everything and everybody around me. To be totally balls out like that is, for me, the measure of a true artist." Stripped was released in October 2002. The album incorporated various genres from R&B and flamenco to rock, and lyrically revolves around the theme of self-esteem while also discussing sex and gender equality. It received mixed reviews from music critics, who viewed the employment of various musical styles incoherent, but praised Aguilera's vocals. The album peaked at number 2 on the Billboard 200 and has sold over 4.3 million copies in the US as of 2014. In the UK, the album has sold 2 million copies as of 2017 and was the second highest-selling album by an American female artist during the 2000s decade, behind Norah Jones with Come Away With Me. By 2006, Stripped had sold over 12 million copies worldwide. The second single from the album, the ballad Beautiful, received universal acclaim for its empowering lyrics about embracing inner beauty, and became an anthem for the LGBT community. It was the album's best-charting single, peaking at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. The song won Best Female Pop Vocal Performance at the 46th Annual Grammy Awards in 2004. Stripped was followed by 3 other singles: Fighter, Can't Hold Us Down, and The Voice Within, all of which were released in 2003 and entered the top 40 on the Billboard Hot 100. During promotion of Stripped, Aguilera cultivated a new image by adopting the alter ego Christina, dyeing her hair black, and debuting several tattoos and piercings. She co-headlined the Justified and Stripped tour alongside Justin Timberlake from June to September 2003 in support of Stripped and Timberlake's album Justified, before embarking on her solo Stripped tour until December. Aguilera attended the 2003 MTV Video Music Awards in August, where she and Britney Spears kissed Madonna during their performance of Like a Virgin in Hollywood, which received considerable media attention. She was the host of the 2003 MTV Europe Music Awards, where she won Best Female Award, in November. Billboard announced Aguilera as the top female pop act of 2003. 2004 to 2009, Marriage, Back to Basics, and First Child. In 2004, Aguilera recorded a revised version of Rolls Royce's Car Wash with Missy Elliott for the animated film Shark Tale, in which she was a voice actress, and contributed vocals to Nelly's single Tilt Ya Head Back. She was a featured artist on Herbie Hancock's 2005 cover of Leon Russell's A Song for You, which was nominated for Best Pop Collaboration with Vocals at the 48th Annual Grammy Awards in February 2006. During this time, Aguilera started working on her follow-up studio album and embraced a new image inspired by figures of the classic Hollywood era such as Marilyn Monroe, Marlene Dietrich, and Mary Pickford, debuting blonde curly hair and retro-styled makeup. Aguilera became engaged to marketing executive Jordan Bratman, who had dated her since 2003, in February 2005. They married on November 19, 2005, at an estate in Napa County, California. Aguilera released the lead single, Ain't No Other Man, from her fifth studio album, Back to Basics, in June 2006. The song, like the majority of the album, was inspired by Aguilera's marriage and incorporates elements of early 20th century soul, blues, and jazz. It reached number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 and has sold 1.7 million digital copies in the US as of 2014. Its music video saw Aguilera debuting her new alter ego, Baby Jane, inspired by the thriller film Whatever Happened to Baby Jane? Back to Basics was released in August 2006. Aguilera described the record, a double album, as a throwback to jazz, blues, and soul music of the 1920s, 1930s, and 1940s that incorporates a modern twist. She was much inspired by works of such classic blues and soul singers as Otis Redding, Millie Jackson, and Nina Simone during the recording sessions. Back to Basics received generally positive reviews from critics, who commented that the retro-oriented production complements Aguilera's vocals. It debuted atop the Billboard 200 and has sold 1.7 million copies in the U.S. At the 49th Annual Grammy Awards in February 2007, Aguilera won Best Female Pop Vocal Performance for Ain't No Other Man and performed It's a Man's World as a tribute to the late James Brown. Back to Basics was succeeded by two international top 10 singles, Hurt and Candyman. Two other singles, Slow Down Baby and Oh Mother, were released exclusively in Australia and Europe, respectively. In support of Back to Basics, Aguilera embarked on the Back to Basics tour, which ran from November 2006 to October 2008. With $48.1 million grossed, the tour was the highest-grossing solo female tour of 2007. In January 2008, Aguilera gave birth to her child with Bratman, a son. Later that year, she appeared in the Martin Scorsese documentary Shine a Light chronicling a two-day Rolling Stones concert in New York City's Beacon Theater, in which Aguilera performs Live With Me alongside the band's lead vocalist Mick Jagger. In commemoration of a decade-long career in the music industry, Aguilera released a greatest hits album titled Keeps Getting Better, a decade of hits exclusively through Target in November 2008, in the U.S. In addition to previous singles, it includes 4 original electropop-oriented songs, 2 of which are remade versions of 2 previous singles. Aguilera commented that the newly recorded track's futuristic, robotic sound served as a preview for her follow-up studio album. Keeps Getting Better peaked at number 9 on the Billboard 200, and its titular single Keeps Getting Better charted at number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100. Billboard in 2009 recognized Aguilera as the 20th most successful artist of the 2000s, 2010 to 2011, Bionic, Burlesque, and The Voice. Aguilera began working on her 6th studio album during her pregnancy when she frequently listened to electronic music. The lead single from the album, Not Myself Tonight, was released in March 2010. Heavily influenced by electronic genres, the song signaled Aguilera's musical experiments on her forthcoming album. It peaked at number 23 on the Billboard Hot 100. The album, titled Bionic, was released in June 2010. Categorized as a R&B-flavored future pop album by critics, Bionic lyrically revolves around sexual themes while also discussing feminism. Critical reaction to the album was mixed. Reviewers commended Aguilera's experimentation with new styles, but found it forced and unnatural. The album peaked at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and has sold 332,000 copies in the US as of 2019. The album spawned one other international single, You Lost Me. 2 other singles from the album, Woohoo featuring rapper Nicki Minaj and I Hate Boys, were released in the US and Europe, and Australia, respectively. Aguilera starred alongside Cher in the musical film Burlesque. Written and directed by Steve Ontine, the film was released in theaters in November 2010. Aguilera played Ali Rose, who quits her bar service job and moves to Los Angeles, where she aspires to be a performer in a burlesque club owned by Tess Scully. Burlesque grossed $90 million in the box office and received mixed reviews from critics, who found it cliched but praised Aguilera's acting. The film received a nomination for Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy at the 68th Golden Globe Awards. Aguilera recorded 8 tracks for the film's 10-track accompanying soundtrack, and Cher performed the other 2. The soundtrack reached number 18 on the Billboard 200 and was certified gold by the RCA. At Super Bowl 45 in February 2011, Aguilera omitted a few lines while performing the U.S. national anthem. She apologized for the incident, saying, "I got so caught up in the moment of the song that I lost my place." At the 53rd Annual Grammy Awards, she performed alongside Jennifer Hudson, Martina McBride, Yolanda Adams, and Florence Welch in a segment that paid tribute to soul singer Aretha Franklin. Aguilera finalized her divorce from Jordan Bratman, from whom she had been separated since September 2010, on April 15, 2011. She concurrently started dating Matthew Rutler, an assistant on the set of Burlesque. From April 2011 to December 2012, Aguilera served as a coach on the first 3 seasons of the television competition series The Voice. During the first season, Aguilera was featured on Maroon 5's single Moves Like Jagger upon the invitation of the group's lead vocalist and Aguilera's fellow The Voice coach Adam Levine. The single peaked atop the Billboard Hot 100 and has sold 7 million digital copies worldwide. 2012 to 2017, Lotus, Second Child, and television projects. Upon the third season of The Voice in September 2012, Aguilera released Your Body as the lead single from her seventh studio album. The single charted on the Billboard Hot 100 at number 34. The album, titled Lotus, followed in November 2012. Aguilera described the record as a rebirth of herself after the personal struggles she overcame. Contemporary reviewers found the album generic and conventional, as opposed to Aguilera's previous experimental ventures. Lotus peaked at number 7 on the Billboard 200 and has sold 303,000 copies in the US as of 2019. The album was supported by another single, Just a Fool, featuring Aguilera's fellow The Voice coach Blake Shelton. In December 2012, Aguilera was replaced by Shakira for the fourth season of The Voice. She returned for the fifth season in September 2013. In 2013, Aguilera scored 3 international top 10 singles. She was featured on rapper Pitbull's Feel This Moment, which peaked at number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 and was certified platinum by the RCA. She subsequently appeared on Mexican singer Alejandro Fernandez's cover of Miguel Gallardo's Hoy Tango Ganas de Ti, which earned a diamond certification in Mexico. Aguilera collaborated with A Great Big World on the ballad Say Something, which earned a 6-time platinum certification from the RCA and won Best Pop Duo/Group Performance at the 57th Annual Grammy Awards. Aguilera temporarily withdrew from The Voice for the 6th and 7th seasons, citing her desire to devote her time to her family. She was respectively replaced by Shakira and Gwen Stefani during the 2 seasons. After her engagement to Matthew Rutler in February 2014 and the birth of their daughter in August, she returned for the 8th season in October. Aguilera's last season on The Voice was the 10th, which she won with her contestant Allison Porter in May 2016. Aguilera played a recurring role of Jade St. John, a pop singer who tries to venture out to country music, on the 3rd season of ABC's musical drama series Nashville in April 2015. 2 promotional singles were released in order to support her appearance, The Real Thing and Shotgun. She and her partner Rutler served as executive producers for a music-based game show, Tracks, which aired on Spike TV in March 2016. Aguilera recorded a song titled Change, which she dedicated to the victims of the 2016 Orlando nightclub shooting as well as Christina Grimmie, who was fatally shot in Orlando the day before the nightclub shooting. The proceeds were donated to the National Compassion Fund to benefit the victims' families. Her other works included recording a disco song titled Telepathy featuring Nile Rodgers for the soundtrack of Netflix original series The Get Down, being a voice actress for the Emoji Movie, and starring in the romantic science fiction film Zoe. In November 2017, Aguilera performed a medley of the Bodyguard songs during the American Music Awards in honor to celebrate Whitney Houston. 2018 present, Liberation and the Experience. Aguilera started working on her new album in the summer of 2015. Its release was preceded by 2 singles, Accelerate featuring Ty Dolla $ign and 2 Chainz and Fall in Line featuring Demi Lovato. The album, titled Liberation, was released on June 15, 2018, to favorable reviews. Aguilera heavily incorporated R&B and hip-hop on the album to represent her desire for freedom from what she described as the churning hamster wheel that was The Voice. Liberation debuted at number 6 on the Billboard 200 chart, becoming Aguilera's 7th U.S. Top 10 album. At the 61st Annual Grammy Awards, Fall in Line was nominated for Best Pop Duo/Group Performance, and the album track Like I Do, which featured Goldlink, was nominated for Best Rap/Song Performance. To promote Liberation, Aguilera embarked on a U.S. tour, the Liberation Tour, which ran from September to November 2018, and a European tour, the X Tour, which ran from July to December 2019. She also headlined The Experience, a 25-date concert residency at the Zappos Theater in Las Vegas beginning in May and concluding in March 2020. In October 2019, Aguilera released the soul and blues-inspired song Haunted Heart from the soundtrack of the computer-animated Addams Family film, and a month later Fall on Me, her second collaboration with A Great Big World, was premiered. On March 6, 2020, Aguilera released Loyal Brave True as a promotional single from the live-action remake of Mulan. Rolling Stone considered it Oscar-worthy. She released a re-recording of Reflection on August 28. Artistry. Voice. Critics have described Aguilera as a soprano, possessing a 4-octave vocal range, being also able to perform the whistle register. After the release of her self-titled debut album, Ron Fair, executive of RCA Records, said he was betting on the singer due to her perfect intonation, considering that she had pipes to be the next Barbra Streisand or Celine Dion. In an article for Slate, Maura Johnston opined that although the singer acts in the contemporary pop music, she has an instrument that despite its ability to leap octaves has a low-end grounding similar to that possessed by opera singers. Highlighting her vocal versatility, Joan Anderman from the Boston Globe stated that she is a real singer blessed with the sort of breathtaking elasticity, golden tones, and sheer power that separate the divas from the dabblers. Aguilera is also recognized for making use of melisma in her songs and performances. John Pareles, writing for the New York Times, analyzed her vocal abilities, emphasizing that she can aim a note as directly as a missile or turn its trajectory into an aerobatic spiral of leaping, quivering, scalloping melismas. According to critics of Rolling Stone magazine, she has been modeled her dramatic and melismatic technique following steps of artists like Etta James. Throughout her career, her vocal ability has yielded comparisons with other vocalists. As a result of her use of melismatic technique, David Brown associated her with Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey, opining that the three form the team of the main proponents of this vocal modality. Sharing the same point of view, Sasha Freer-Jones, columnist for The New Yorker, expressed that the technique was responsible for making her a serious singer without needing to reincarnate the Sarah Vaughan. Steve Kipner, songwriter responsible for Genie in a Bottle, considered that Aguilera has an impressive vocal dexterity, being able to internalize all the riffs from Chaka Khan. And Powers, critic from Los Angeles Times, said that Aguilera has a voice purely powerful as that of Etta James and she's moving toward the expressiveness of Gladys Knight, if not Aretha Franklin. However, Powers notes that her vocal ability in ballad songs connects her to Barbra Streisand, in addition to comparing her to Donna Summer when she works on songs influenced by rhythm and blues. However, Aguilera has also been criticized for the excessive use of melisma, as well for over-singing in her songs and concerts. Writing for the Huffington Post, John Eskow stated that she is the main proponent of oversouling and, despite recognizing that she has a great instrument, opined that she don't seem to know when to stop with the use of gratuitous and confected melisma. Lucy Davis, author from BBC Music, acknowledges that Aguilera has a stunning voice, but indicated that she could be more varied, simply by cutting out some of the woah in her songs. During the recording session of Beautiful, Linda Perry recalled that the singer had difficulty in avoiding what she calls vocal improvisations, stopping the recording every time she started to over-singing. Perry ended up using the song's first take, saying, she had a hard time accepting that as the final track. She's a perfectionist. She knows her voice really well and she knows what's going on. She can hear things that nobody else would catch. In an article for Entertainment Weekly, Chris Willman opined that the Aguilera's tendency to over-singing is due to the influence of Carey in her vocal ability, noting her slightly nasal tone that really only becomes obvious when she's overselling a song. Influences. According to Pierre Dominguez, the domestic violence that Aguilera suffered during her childhood directly impacted her developing personality. However, the author states that unlike other children who witnessed the violence at home, she did not show feelings of guilt, emotional disturbance or aggressive behavior towards people. On the contrary, she created an internal defense mechanism. On the other hand, Chloe Gubbin comments that the fact of she has been a victim of bullying at school made Aguilera an introverted and insecure person. Her mother's role was crucial in changing this situation, with whom she have learned a message about self-respect. Both authors agree that the learning had a strong influence on Aguilera's behavior in the transition to adulthood, as well exercised an impact on her early #1 singles and career, Genie in a Bottle and What a Girl Wants, whose lyrics made a refer to female empowerment. Aguilera states that her biggest influence in music was Etta James, my all-time favorite singer. I'll still be as raunchy as I wanna be, and I'll have her memory to back me up. She's what I want to be someday. As her first references to sing and perform, Aguilera credits the musical The Sound of Music and its lead actress, Julie Andrews. Other of the main inspirations cited throughout her career includes Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Michael Jackson, Pearl Bailey and the band's Red Hot Chili Peppers and Guns N' Roses. Furthermore, Aguilera recalls that she started singing her first songs in Spanish language during the childhood as an influence of her parents who constantly listened to works by Julio Iglesias. In recognition of what she describes as positive female artists, Aguilera mentioned Madonna and Janet Jackson as artistic influences. In 2000, during an interview with Jam. Canoe, she demonstrated her respect for both singers for taking on the stage, the studio and the screen and have been successful in all three artists who aren't afraid to take chances and be daring, experimental and sexy. Cher was also highlighted as one of the Aguilera's source of inspiration in career as she remembered that saw her for the first time in the music video for If I Could Turn Back Time, described as a pivotal moment that encouraged her as a woman who's been there, done everything, before everyone else, who had the guts to do it. As influences on her vocal abilities, Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald were declared as one of her main references during youth. Some of her inspirations were portrayed in her artistic work. During the process of developing of her fifth studio album, Back to Basics, Aguilera stated to being influenced by music records from Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin, Nina Simone, and Otis Redding. In the audiovisual work for Candyman, she performed 3 different roles as an allusion to the interpretation of Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy by the group The Andrews Sisters on a brief appearance in the film Buck Privates. Outside the music industry, she mentioned Marilyn Monroe as a reference, paying tribute to the actress in the music video for Tilt Ya Head Back and in movie Burlesque, where she recorded one of Monroe's most popular songs, Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, featured in musical Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Furthermore, Aguilera highlighted her inspirations in the art world, declaring to be an appreciator of works by Andy Warhol, Roy Lichtenstein, and Banksy. Musical style and themes. Generally referred to as a pop music singer, Aguilera has experimented with different musical genres throughout her career. She explains that she always tries to bring something new in her projects and experiment with voice because she gets bored when repeating her inspirations, in addition to verbalizing her preference of working with more obscure collaborators and that she is not necessarily inclined to contact the #1 chart toppers in music because of their popular demand. Reviewing her artistically, Alexis Petridis, columnist from The Guardian, recognized that her boldness in reinventing herself was always one of her most impressive facets, while Kelefa Sane from The New York Times highlighted her decision to snub some of the big-name producers on whom pop stars often rely. On her first records, Christina Aguilera and Mi Reflejo, its contents were produced in a teen pop style directly influenced by dance pop, with the latter also referencing her incentive by Latin music. Aiming at artistic growth, Stripped was described as substantive and mature with pleasantly surprising depth, where she collaborated with a range of genres, including R&B, hip-hop, rock, and soul, and moved away from the teen niche. On her fifth studio album, Back to Basics, Aguilera worked with several producers to create a throwback with elements of old-school genres combined with a modern-day twist hard-hitting beats. Stephen Thomas Erlewine from AllMusic called the project as an artistic statement a little crass and self-centered, but also catchy, exciting and unique. In 2010, Aguilera developed the soundtrack for Burlesque, whose content was influenced by cabaret and highlighted several songs that were redone as dance numbers in a fashion similar to Moulin Rouge. At the same year, Bionic saw she working with producers specialized in electronic music to create a future pop project with elements taken from electro. Sam Lanksey from MTV Buzzworthy described it as forward-thinking and even timeless, as well emphasized its subversive ambient production. Aguilera explored and heavily incorporated electropop on Lotus, in addition combined it with other genres. On the other hand, she contributed with Kanye West and Anderson .Paak on Liberation, creating a work inspired by R&B and hip-hop, styles that she had included in her previous material less broadly, claiming, "There's nothing like an amazing hip-hop beat. At the end of the day, I am a soul singer singing soulfully is where my core, my root and my heart really is." Regarding the themes of her music, Aguilera stated that she feels a sense of responsibility to reference portions of her personal life so that people that can relate might not feel as alone in the circumstance. In most of her songs, love was present among the subjects covered, as well motherhood, marriage and fidelity. However, she also wrote themes that dealt with the opposite, such as domestic violence and abusive relationship. Her behavior with sex also occupies a part of her repertoire. In an interview with People, she stated, "If I want to be sexual, it's for my own appreciation and enjoyment. That's why I like to talk about the fact that sometimes I am attracted to women. I appreciate their femininity and beauty. Recognized for including feminism in her art, Aguilera denounced the double standard for the first time in Can't Hold Us Down, explaining that men are applauded for their sexual behaviors, while women who behave in a similar fashion are disdained. Writing for The Guardian, Hermione Hobie noted that she incites a sisterly spirit of collaboration not shy of the odd feministic declaration herself. Public image. Aguilera has reinvented her public image numerous times during her career. Early in her career, she was marketed as a bubblegum pop singer due to the genre's high financial return in the late 1990s, becoming an teen idol. However, she was accused of cultivating a sexual image, attracting criticism regarding her revealing clothes. In an interview with MTV News, Debbie Gibson accused her of influencing girls out there wearing less and less, considering that she lives and breathes the sexual image. In response to negative comments, Aguilera stated, "Just because I have a certain image, everyone wants me to be this role model. But nobody is perfect, and nobody can live up to that." Furthermore, her music and image received comparisons to Britney Spears. David Brown, author from Entertainment Weekly, noted that she was a good girl pretending to be bad when compared to Spears' music and image. In contrast, Christopher J. Farley of Time considered her a more impressive artist than Spears. Meghan Turner from New York Post compared the battle between both artists in the media with the previous one between the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. However, she highlighted the difference in them, opining that while Britney has a va-va-voom sexuality, Aguilera had charm and a youthful appeal. In 2002, Aguilera introduced her alter ego Christina, for which she adopted increasingly provocative and extravagant looks. During this period, she dyed her hair black, debuted body piercings and photographed nude for several publications. While analyzing her new visual, Vice and Rolling Stone magazines wrote that her new clothes echoed as if she were participating in the Girls Gone Wild franchise. On the other hand, she reinforced her new visual direction by dressing up as a nun during a performance of Dirrty accompanied by a choir and undressed to reveal what she would wear underneath to serving as the host of the 2003 MTV Europe Music Awards. In a review of her persona, author Stephen Thomas Erlewine of AllMusic opined that Aguilera reached maturity with transparent sexuality and pounding sounds of nightclubs. Writing for the Daily Telegraph, Adam White was more positive about her image and recognized that her embracing of an overtly sexual image in the wake of adolescent stardom was a tried and tested route to adult success. Under a new persona named Baby Jane, a reference to whatever happened to Baby Jane? Aguilera again transformed her public image in 2006. Sticking to the platinum blonde in her hair, she started to dress inspired by actresses from old Hollywood. However, in 2010, her new looks were highlighted in the international media for comparisons with those used by Lady Gaga. After gaining weight in 2012, she was criticized by several publications. In the following year, she received favorable media attention after a significant weight loss. During a pictorial for Paper magazine in the March 2018 edition, she appeared barefaced without makeup and photographic manipulation, receiving widespread praise and attracting attention to artists who would pose the same way on their social media. Aguilera has been cited as a sex symbol. Through VH1, she was included in the list of the sexiest entertainment artists in 2002 and 2013. In publications from FHM and Complex, she received similar honors in 2004 and 2012, respectively. In 2003, she was chosen as the Sexiest Woman of the Year by Maxim, stamping the cover of the best-selling issue of the magazine's history. Furthermore, she was mentioned as one of the most beautiful people in the world in 2003 and 2007 in People editions. Aguilera also is recognized a gay icon. In 2019, she was awarded by the Human Rights Campaign for using her platform to share a message of hope and inspiration to those who have been marginalized, bringing greater visibility to the LGBTQ community. Her fashion sense has also attracted media attention throughout her artistic life. John Caramanica, journalist from the New York Times, concluded that Aguilera will be remembered for her glamour and her scandalous take on fempop, while Janelle Okwaju from Vogue noted that she has never been afraid to take a fashion risk, has filled her videos with jaw-dropping styles and risque runway looks. Followed by her appearance at New York Fashion Week in 2018, she was recognized as one of the most stylish people of the year according Dazed. Aguilera has called her fans fighters, which has become the nickname used on social media to refer to her fanbase. She is recognized as one of the most popular musicians on Twitter with approximately 17 million followers. in addition to occupying a place among the most searched artists in the world in 2002, 2004, and 2010 through Google, as well one of the most popular searches in 2003 by Yahoo! Search. After her integration as a coach on The Voice, Aguilera was one of the highest-paid American television stars. In 2011, it was reported that she would receive $225,000 per episode, as well as $12 million per season in 2013, $12.5 million in 2014, and $17 million in 2016. In 2007, Forbes included her on its list of richest women in entertainment with a net worth estimated to be $60 million. In the following year, the magazine calculated that she had earnings of $20 million in the prior year. In 2021, Aguilera's fortune was estimated to be around $160 million according to Yahoo! Finance. Legacy. Throughout her career, Aguilera has earned numerous awards and accolades, including 5 Grammy Awards. As of 2018, the Recording Industry Association of America lists that Aguilera has sold over 75 million albums and singles worldwide, making her one of the best-selling music artists of all time. In 2010, Aguilera was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In 2012, she was honored as the voice of a generation by the ALMA Awards and has been referred to as a princess of pop. Aguilera has also accumulated several recognitions. Rolling Stone and Consequence of Sound both named her as one of the greatest vocalists of all time, as well as one of the greatest artists of Latin origin in history by Latina. In addition, she was placed as one of the most important women in the phonographic industry. The Independent, Billboard magazine have also developed articles analyzing her influence on the pop music scene. In October 2012, Aguilera's costumes and video collection was included on the Women Who Rock exhibition by the National Museum of Women in the Arts. That same year, VH1 named Aguilera the 8th greatest woman in the music industry. Various artists have cited Aguilera as an inspiration, including Ariana Grande, Sabrina Carpenter, Demi Lovato, Tinashe, Lady Gaga, Sam Smith, Lauren Jauregui, Meghan Trainor, Olivia Rodrigo, Dove Cameron, Selena Gomez, and Miley Cyrus. Her work has also inspired some athletes, including American figure skater Johnny Weir, ice dancer Zachary Donahue and Madison Hubble, and American swimmer Dana Vollmer. Celine Dion has also commented that, without a doubt, is one of the most talented artists the world has ever seen and heard, and continue to amaze us for many years to come. Aguilera's use of sexual imagery has helped catalyze public discourse on sexuality and feminism. Rhiannon Lucy Coslet, co-founder of The Bagenda, opined that the provocative dance routines in Aguilera's music videos are empowering. In 2012, John Caramanica of the New York Times commented that Aguilera will be remembered for her glamour, her scandalous take on fempop, and her Brobdingnagian voice, and as the person who almost single-handedly reshaped music competition reality programming. She was considered as the 14th greatest woman of the music video era by VH1. In 2008, Rolling Stone wrote that has had the finesse and power of a blues queen ever since she was a child star. In 2019, Aguilera received the Disney Legends Award for her remarkable contributions to the Disney legacy and was called one of the preeminent musical performers of our generation. Starting out on the Mickey Mouse Club during the early 90s as a child star, Genius writer Eddie Fu stated that Aguilera's impact has been apparent in the sense of many Disney young child stars such as Miley Cyrus, Demi Lovato and Sabrina Carpenter have followed. He went on to say that this generation transitioned from child acting careers to teen pop before finding their own voices a few albums later. Vulture writer, Jordan Crucchiola, added that from Aguilera's legacy, instead of there being just a few kids making it after Disney, former child stars are now ubiquitous in pop culture. Carpenter spoke to Teen Vogue saying that after listening to Aguilera, she began to see songs as a part of what could do to showcase and develop own voice. Lovato has also stated that they grew up listening to Aguilera, calling her voice an influence. Other activities. Investments and endorsements. Outside of her projects in the music industry, Aguilera has worked in other activities. In 2016, after founding her own production company, MX Productions, she signed a contract with Lionsgate Entertainment to develop a music competition program, named Tracks, which was aired on Spike TV. At the same year, it was reported that she was an investor of multiple companies, including Pinterest, DraftKings, Lift and Master Class, for which she also developed a singing class. Throughout her career, she has worked with the sale of your own products. In 2011, she attended São Paulo Fashion Week to unveil her first clothes line, which was commercialized at the Brazilian department store C&A. In 2004, she started her perfume line through Procter & Gamble, which is maintained with annual releases since then, in addition to being awarded numerous times at the FI Awards by the Fragrance Foundation. Her fragrances ranked among the United Kingdom's bestsellers in 2007 and 2009. In 2016, Aguilera's fragrance business was acquired by Elizabeth Arden Incorporated, where it was estimated that the brand had $80 million in sales and $10 million in earnings in January of that year. Aguilera has also been involved in marketing initiatives during her career, endorsing numerous brands, including Sears and Levi's, Skechers, Mercedes-Benz, Virgin Mobile, Pepsi, Orange UK, Sony Ericsson, and Oreo. In 2001, she signed with Coca-Cola to star in a series of television commercials in a deal reported to worth up £50 million. Furthermore, Aguilera inspired a line clothes by Versace in 2003, starring as model in its advertising campaign. Likewise, in 2008, she influenced and appeared in a campaign to promote a collection of sterling silver pieces designed by Stephen Webster. In 2004, it was reported that she earned over £200,000 to open summer sale at London's department store Harrods. Following the birth of her first child, in 2008, Aguilera was paid $1.5 million to submit her baby pictures to People magazine, which became the 9th most expensive celebrity baby photographs ever taken. Philanthropy. Aguilera has also done philanthropic work during her career. In 2001, she signed an open letter organized by the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals destined to South Korea, appealing on national government to ban the consumption of dogs and cats. In 2006, she replaced a costume designed by Roberto Cavalli for her Back to Basics tour after discovering that he had used fox fur in its composition. In 2010, Aguilera auctioned tickets to her concerts through Christie's, earmarking the proceeds to nonprofit environmental organizations, including Conservation International and the Natural Resources Defense Council. She has also worked to raise awareness of HIV/AIDS. In 2004, she was the face of a makeup line by MAC Cosmetics, whose profits were destined to fight the virus. In the following year, Aguilera participated in a photo book aimed to raising funds for the Elton John AIDS Foundation, in addition to star in a campaign organized by Youth AIDS. Recognized for her supporting work to women and children, in 2003, Aguilera visited and donated over $200,000 to the Women's Center and Shelter of Greater Pittsburgh, a support center for victims of domestic violence. In 2019, she donated part of the proceeds from her residency concert to an organization based in Las Vegas, Nevada. Furthermore, she has starred in commercials on the Lifetime channel calling for an end to violence against women, as well collaborated with institutions that fight breast cancer. In 2005, she participated in a gala event designed to raise funds for child support organizations, including Nelson Mandela Children's Fund. Similarly, in 2008, she participated in the Turkish version of the game show Deal or No Deal, where she earned 180,000 Turkish liras lira, an amount converted into donations to the country's orphanages. In a Mont Blanc initiative, she participated in a charity event promoting children's access to music education in 2010. Aguilera was also involved in campaigns to encourage people to vote. During the 2004 United States presidential election, she was featured on advertising panels for Declare Yourself, as well served as a spokesperson for Rock the Vote in the 2008 presidential election. In 2005, Aguilera donated her wedding gifts to charities in support of families affected by Hurricane Katrina. In 2012, as a result of the disaster caused by Hurricane Sandy, she participated in a special organized by National Broadcasting Company, where she performed the song Beautiful and asked for donations to the American Red Cross. In response to the 2010 Haiti earthquake, she auctioned off a Chrysler 300 and used the money raised to help disaster victims. She additionally appeared on the Hope for Haiti Now telethon, where donations directly benefited Oxfam America, Partners in Health, Red Cross, and UNICEF. In 2009, she became the global spokesperson for the World Food Programme, a branch of the United Nations. Through the program, She traveled to several countries with high rates of malnutrition, such as Guatemala, Ecuador, and Rwanda. Since then, it is estimated that she has helped raise more than $148 million for the organization and other hunger relief agencies in 45 countries. In 2012, her role in the project earned her the George McGovern Leadership Award, which she received in the White House from former Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton.